guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing a cook with me video, and I'm going to be making baked chicken, boneless skinless chicken thighs, along with sweet potato souffle, homemade macaroni and cheese, baked macaroni and cheese, and green beans and some cornbread dressing. So I thought I would bring you guys along and, like I said, do a cook with me. So I hope you enjoy. So I'll be right back. I'm going to wash my hands and clean up. Now I'm going to put some aluminum foil over it. I'm going to place both of these pans on the bottom rack of the oven, and I'm going to be cooking them on 350 for about 45 minutes to an hour. Correction, both pans are wider than I remember them being, so I'm going to have to put one on top and one on the bottom. And now I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to set it to 45 minutes to start with, and I will check it at that time, and if I need to add, I can. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be using to make my cornbread. This is the King Arthur Baking Company gluten-free cornbread mix. This is the mix that I will be using. The ingredients that it calls for are 4 tablespoons of melted butter or oil, 2 large eggs, and 1 1/4 cups of milk. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started and get this put into the oven. Since I have 2 large pans for the baked chicken in the regular oven, I don't have room to be able to cook this in there. So I'm going to be using my Ninja air fryer oven to bake the cornbread and anything else that needs to be cooking at the same time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this going. Okay, so I have all the ingredients mixed for the cornbread, and it tells me to pour the batter into a pan that has been sprayed or greased. So I'm going to be using my non-stick canola oil cooking spray. That will help the cornbread not to stick. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. Now I wanted to go ahead and make my cornbread a day before I do my dressing, or at least a few hours, so that it would give the cornbread time to sit and to cool before I crumble it up to make the dressing. So now it tells me to let the batter rest in the pan for 10 minutes. And once it has rested, then go ahead and put it into the oven at 425, and we're going to be cooking it for, 20 to 25 minutes. So now I'm going to start preparing the sweet potato souffle. So in order to do that, I am going to be using 2 big bags of sweet potatoes, also a package of it. Now, to get started, I am going to wash these sweet potatoes very thoroughly and make sure that they are super washed off and clean before I even start to boil them, because they are really dirty and I don't want the dirt to be floating around in the water once they start to boil, just in case some of the skin comes off before I'm ready for it to, and the dirt will get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse these off very well. After that, I'm going to put them in the boiler, put them in the pot, and fill it with water and boil them on high until they are tender. Once they are tender, I will take them out of the water, let it cool for a little bit, then I will skin the potatoes. Then after that, I will mash them up to get them into a smooth consistency so that we can actually start to build the souffle. So I just checked the cornbread and it is ready to be taken out. So I'm going to take it out and sit it to the side and let it cool. And let's see how much time we had. We still had 6 minutes left. So that's why it's always good to take it out and check it on your own so that you don't burn it. Okay, so the chicken is done. I've already checked it and everything is good with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove it from the oven and let it rest and cool. That is what it looks like. And I'll do a close-up picture as well so you can see. This is what it looks like close up. And I have another pan as well. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, let this cool. I'm going to use some of the juice from it, which is now the chicken stock. I'm going to use some of that to put inside of my cornbread dressing. And I'm also going to shred up some of these thighs and use pieces of the meat inside of the cornbread dressing as well. This is the sweet potatoes. They are still boiling. I'm about to check them and see if they are tender yet. And I'll be back. Okay, so my potatoes are done. They are tender. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and take them out and put them into this bowl so that they can continue to cool. And I'll be able to peel them shortly. And I have to be very careful because as I'm getting them out, they're so tender that they're starting to peel on their own. This is the second pot. And the potatoes in this particular pot, some of them were bigger than in the smaller one. So I made sure that I let this one boil for a little bit longer so that I can make sure that they were tender. Especially like this one. And this is what they look like. So, like I said, I'm going to sit these to the side and let them cool completely. And then I will start to peel the skin off of them. And after that, I will mash them so that they are really smooth. And then I will start the preparation for making it into a souffle. Okay guys, so as you've seen, I already have my 1 pan of cornbread already prepared and made, and now it's cooling. However, I decided that I want to make a second pan of it so that my dressing can be a little bit more thicker and I can stretch it out and get more of it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and make a second pan of it. I do not have another mix of the one I used previously, which was the King Arthur gluten-free cornbread mix. I don't have that, but I do have my Dixie Lily self-rising cornmeal. So I'm going to use this and make a second pan of it. The ingredients call for 1 egg, 1 1/4 cup of milk, 1/4 cup of melted shortening or vegetable oil, and 2 cups of this cornmeal. So I have everything together right here, and I'm going to go ahead and get it mixed up and get this second loaf into the oven. Okay, so this is what it looks like, and I'm gonna put it inside. And I'm gonna set my timer for, it says 20 to 25 minutes, but I will start off with maybe like 20 minutes, and I'm gonna keep a check on it. Okay, so here's my second pan of cornbread, the one that I made with the Dixie Lily cornmeal mix, and it turned out great as well. So now I have 2 pans that I will be using to make my dressing. Now that the potatoes are cool, I am about to peel the skin off of these and go ahead and get them mashed and prepared so that I can start the souffle recipe. So basically all I'm gonna do, since they're very tender, I'm just gonna take a piece like this and just keep peeling it completely until it's all gone, and then it would just be the raw potato, and then it would be easy to mash. Okay, so as I stated before, I am going to be making a sweet potato souffle, and these are the sweet potatoes. I've already washed them off. I've already boiled them so that they are super tender. I've already peeled the skins off, and now what I'm about to do is take the potato masher and mash them up until they are smooth enough for me to measure them in a cup to see exactly how much I have, and then I'm going to go ahead and start putting the recipe together. I got this recipe off of Southern Living, and it's up under the sweet potato souffle recipe, and basically it calls for, this is for the filling, 4 large or 5 medium sweet potatoes. You're going to try to get at least 6 cups out of it. They need to be mashed all the way down so they're fleshy. Then you need a 1/2 cup of butter. It needs to be softened. Then you need a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 2 eggs, and a 1/2 cup of whole milk, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So you're gonna mix all of that together. That's the first step. Also, if you would like to have a topping on top of your souffle once it's completely done cooking, here is a recipe that will make that. You would use 2/3 cup of light brown sugar, a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1.5 cups of pecan halves, and 5 tablespoons of melted butter. You would put all of that together in a bowl and mix all of that up, and then it's like a crumble, and you would just put it all around the top of your souffle. Also, I don't like that kind of topping on mine. I only like just the melted marshmallows. So what I do, I get the mini marshmallows, and once the souffle is completely done cooking, I just sprinkle all of the mini marshmallows completely all over the top of it, and you want to make sure that they are completely full. You don't want to have any spaces. So once you do that, I then put it up under the broiler just for a few seconds, because it doesn't take long for them to melt. And once they're melted, I take it out, and that's it. I like my souffle finished like that. I don't like the crumble topping, but some people do. So if you do, now you have the recipe to be able to do that as well. So now that I have this done, the next step that I'm going to do is go ahead and start the ingredients, putting the ingredients together to make the actual souffle. So what I'm going to do, it tells me to preheat the oven to 350. I've already done that. And then it tells you to have a glass dish, a 9x13, or whatever you have, but you want to make sure that it's either greased or you spray it with cooking spray so that it doesn't stick. Then after that, in this bowl, you want to mix. It says you can use a hand mixer or a regular mixer, but you want to beat your sweet potatoes on medium high until they become smooth, and that takes about 2 minutes. So all of these right here, you want to beat this together. Once you know that you have at least 6 cups, then you start this step. So after you mix this together, and then they're nice and smooth, then you want to add your butter, your brown sugar, your granulated sugar, and your cinnamon. Then you mix it until it's fully combined. You want all of that to be completely mixed together. After that, you will add your eggs, your milk, your vanilla, and your salt, and you want to beat this on high, from medium high, until the mixture is fully together. You want to make sure everything is all mixed well. You don't want anything left out, so you want it all to come together. And then after that, you're just going to pour it into your dish. And like I said, at that point, you just put it in the oven, and you can cook it between 45 to 55 minutes. But as always, keep a check on it in between, because everyone's oven cooks differently. Some cook faster, some cook slower. So you might have to add or reduce some of the time. So now I have my potato masher, and I sprayed it with cooking spray so that the potatoes will slide right off. And I'm just gonna go in and I'm gonna mash these. Since they're very tender, they're super easy to mash. This is what it looks like. And I'm just gonna keep mashing until I get all of the big clumps out. And then I'm gonna start putting some of it, spooning some of it into a measuring cup so I can measure out at least 6 cups so I will know exactly what I'm working with. Now that I have finished mashing all of the potatoes down, this is what your mixture should look like. Now I'm going to start spooning it into a mixing cup. So now, as you saw previously, I had 4 cups in one, then I went and made 2 more cups. So now I have a total of 6 cups to make the recipe that I just told you about. I do have extra left over, so I'm gonna measure it out and add it to the mixture and just put it all together. I will adjust the recipe, the measurements for the different ingredients so that it still will come out to be, basically I'll just be doubling the recipe. because this should be another 6 cups as well. If not exactly 6 cups, it's really close to it. So I will be doubling all of the ingredients. So I went ahead and I measured the whole bowl of all the sweet potatoes, and it actually came out to 12 cups. So that made it very easy for me. So like I said, since the original recipe only calls for 6 cups of sweet potatoes, I'm gonna double the recipe and double all the ingredients so that I will use up all of my sweet potatoes and I won't be wasting anything. So now I'm about to go ahead and start adding in my ingredients. And don't forget, if you have more than the normal 6 cups that it calls for, to adjust your ingredients. So now I have the mixture poured inside of my aluminum dish that I'm going to be using. What I did forget to mention is after you mix everything together before you pour it in here, you might want to do a taste test just to see if it's to your liking. If it's sweet enough, or if you think it's too sweet, you might need to add a little bit more salt. But this came out perfect. I liked the way it tastes. So now after I poured it all in, I just tapped it on the counter a few times to make sure that it's all settled and even. And I'm gonna put it into the oven. And now I'm going to set my timer for 40 minutes. And like I said, you want to check it in between to make sure that it's not cooking too fast or undercooking, so that you can adjust it. You can adjust the time. So here are my 2 full pans of baked chicken thighs. These were the boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I purchased 2 big packs from Sam's Club, and let's see, let me count. Okay, so in one pan, which was 1 pack, I got 17, and I think I paid like $9 for it. And then the other one, I have 18, and I think on that one I paid like maybe almost $10.50 or $11 for that pack. So I think that was a pretty good deal. And like I said, this is the baked chicken. It's boneless and it's skinless. And I just added my different seasonings, as you saw. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save the juice or the chicken stock that's left over, and I'm gonna use that because I'm going to make some cornbread dressing. So I'm gonna use that as my liquid. Also, I'm gonna take a few pieces of some of these thighs, and I'm gonna shred them up really small, and I'm gonna incorporate that into my dressing as well. And that will be, that would take care of my dressing with other ingredients, of course. But these are the chicken thighs. I'll give you a close-up picture. And now that they are cool and completely, now that they're done and they are cool, I'm gonna go ahead and put them up into their Tupperware. Okay, so I went ahead and I added the second bag of marshmallows. This was the 10-ounce bag. The first bag I had was bigger. It was a 16-ounce. And once I put that on it, I let it sit for a little bit, and it gave it like a first layer, and it started to melt on its own without me even putting it inside of the oven to broil it. So that was good. So I was able to see exactly how much more I would need. So I decided to go ahead and open this smaller bag, and I sprinkled it on there, and I was able to fill in some of the holes or the gaps that didn't get filled the first time with the first bag of marshmallows. And so after that, I put it in the oven on low broil, and I watched it. I did not walk away from it. You have to stay there with it because marshmallows burn super fast, really quickly. And it's already on broil, so you don't want to take that risk. But like I said, this is the end result. It looks delicious. I cannot wait to eat it. And I hope that you guys like this video, and I hope that it gave you some kind of inspiration. And definitely give it a try. If you like sweet potato souffle, trust me, you will love this recipe. So I thank you guys for watching. Please consider liking and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.